on my end.
Okay. Consent items 3A through 3D. Questions, comments? None? Okay. General business. First up, 4A. Looks like an ordinance pertaining to Judicial Performance Commission, and this is where I believe Candace is our presenter. Is that right?
Yes, sir. She's on here. I think we'll give her a second to get her audio up and running. But Judge Day, I see you have your camera on too. Are you helping with the presentation as well, or is it Candace? And does she have anybody from the outside helping her on this one?
I think it's a group of us, and I believe Councilmember Coombs is here, and I think she'll bring the item forward, and then I'll be happy to fill in along with Candace any other information and answer any questions.
Great. Councilmember Coombs, if you want to take it away.
All right, sure. Thank you. So this is an item that I've been working with Judge Day and also have met with some of the other folks from the bench on and done some outreach as well to the public defender and the court administrator, so Candace, just to try to bring a little bit more transparency to our judicial process. Right now, the Judicial Performance Commission's report goes only to council and is not available to the public in any way, shape, or form. And so the intent is to publish it and to publish it online for the time being. And then should the city become a county, it would go out by mail as it does in city and county or county-wide situations where there's an election. So we don't have an election, therefore we don't have the same requirements that other entities have to release that information publicly, but we do think it would be helpful just to bring that transparency to the community. Some items that we looked to add that are not there that we will now need to add before study session is including some kind of validation process for surveys. Right now, you can just click on a link on the city's website, and it doesn't matter who you are and what familiarity you have with the judge. You can evaluate their performance. And that was raised as a concern because we want to get accurate information. We want it to be transparency that really reflects the experiences people are having with our judges. So that's something that's not here that we'll want to add. Another point that came up from Candace just recently is that at this time, the commission's budget is under $2,000, and the cost of the evaluations that we currently receive is over $20,000 per year. And her department has been unbudgeted covering that expense every year. And so since that is not in our current 2023 budget, we also had a discussion about delaying implementation until 2024, only because we want to make sure that that expense is budgeted before we start adding to what the expectations are for the commission to carry out. So I think those are the big things. Is we want to publish it. We want the surveys to be validated. And then we're having a conversation that we'll need to decide where we land before study session about whether there's a minimum number of surveys that needs to be completed to establish a threshold for when we would then release the survey information versus just the narrative report from the commission. So those are some items that we have been discussing, but the basics are just we want to be able to publish for the full term of each judge during the year when there's a question of whether or not we as council vote to reappoint them, and evaluation that's available to the public. And Judge Day and Candace, do you have anything else to add?
No. Well, actually, just a couple follow-up comments. And I sincerely appreciate Councilmember Coombs meeting with myself and a group of our judges to discuss this proposal and really kind of go into the detail of the process itself. of the evaluations of the judges. And I sincerely appreciate the openness and willingness to consider some amendments to the current proposal. Just as Councilmember Coombs commented, some of the concerns of the bench is not the transparency of the process. We totally get and understand the importance of transparency with the evaluations of the judges. It was just the concern of the judges that if we're being transparent, we want to be transparent with accurate information. And I think Councilmember Coombs commented on that particular point. And that some of the concern from the bench is that any comment, any evaluation of the judges, if it's not validated, how accurate is it? As the process stands right now, anybody can click on a link who has never appeared in front of a judge and provide an evaluation, score a judge on all the categories that are set forth within the evaluation, provide comment, and they can do so completely anonymous, but yet not ever have to have appeared in front of a judge. And so we question the accuracy as that the state process, which we've looked to, and I think Councilmember Coombs in the process is looked to as well, in trying to mirror the state's process. They do have a validation process. It's not an anonymous process, it's a confidential process. And so any evaluation of a judge is held in confidence. It doesn't go back to the state judge saying that a particular person, a particular attorney, a particular juror, whoever it was that appeared in front of the judge, this is the person who's providing this score for the judge. That's held in confidence. We would propose and suggest that we mirror that process and ensure that the information that you get and that will eventually be published to the public is in fact accurate information for everybody's consideration. Now, the reason why the state does it is because they have a retention election. We don't. It would be left to the council and their consideration as to whether or not a judge should be reappointed. Prospectively and looking forward, if we ever do become city and county, we would have this in place. But so there is some difference in the reason and the purpose behind the state system and providing that information. It's because it's going out to the general public, because the general public will be voting on whether or not the judge is retained or not. So there is a little bit of difference with that. But we did have those discussions with Councilmember Coombs, and I appreciate your willingness and receptiveness to those changes, in addition to a minimum number. And so thank you for willing to work with us and take into consideration the concerns of the bench. Be happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Any other presenters on this one, or I just want to make sure? If not,
Candace wanted to add. I'm not sure if we covered everything.
Yeah, good morning. Sorry, I'm having issues with my camera, but no, I don't have anything to add other than what was said. Thank you.
questions from committee members?
Zvonek.
Yep, go ahead.
I was just curious about the validation of an accuracy process. What does that look like? What are a couple of little steps that you'd take to ensure that those that are evaluating are not nefarious or truly have been before a judge?
Sure. So, I mean, whether or not they're nefarious, we cannot validate, but whether or not they've appeared before a judge. So the way that it works now, my understanding is that folks actually receive an email directly from the State Judicial Performance Commission that have been before the judge, asking them to complete the survey. And then as they're completing the survey, they have to affirm, yes, I've appeared before the judge. So that would require some more work on the front end. This is some of the work of the commission that Candace was concerned that we want to be properly funding the process before we add this. And then they have to then go in on the back end and remove the confidential information so that what goes to the judge is only the the answers to the questions and not the identifying information. So that's kind of how the validation process works, to my understanding at this point, at the state. And the vendor that we are using now for our process is also the one that does the process for the state. So the good news is that it shouldn't be a lot more, but that's part of why we're looking to delay the implementation now, while we were looking to implement it in 2023, is to work with them to make sure they're ready to go.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, are there any objections to moving it forward to study session? Okay, thank you all. Next up is item 4B, the Public Safety Action Plan update. Jason?
Thanks, sir. So we'll go through these. The first section of the resolution is ensuring that we have the needed resources and other support, including being fully staffed. So you see in there the metrics in terms of each of the different units where we're at, where our vacancies are. You also see the academy status is listed in there. And then in addition, you have some updates on training and then our CIT trained officer status. So any questions on the first part?
Questions? And so am I looking at, I'm trying to see the February, that's the first one, right, in the new year?
Yes, I believe you mean for a new basic academy. Yeah, I think we have a new basic academy starting in early February. That's correct.
February. And do you know, and I'm just going through here. Okay, so the number is 3? Or am I looking? No, that's never mind. That's just.
Oh, you're looking at the 22-3L. That would be our 3 laterals.
Yep. Okay, got it. That's. Yeah. So we don't know. Do you have an idea of what that first February number is? Yeah.
I don't know if we have a number on that one yet. I think that's one that the Civil Service Commission is still working through. Similarly, we are working through our laterals. I believe the laterals, we are in the 6 or 7 range for trying to get laterals in the door. So I think that's a good number on laterals. But I don't know on the basics. Reagan, do you have any updates in terms of what we're hearing the basic size might be?
No, I don't have that. I don't know if anyone from Civil Service is on to speak to that number.
Hi, it's Matt Kane with the Civil Service Commission. The commission has not reviewed any files at this point. They've been waiting to see the outcome of Councilmember Zvonek's resolution and did not want to make any disqualifications or even approvals at this point without a little more clarity on where that turns out.
So my recommendation, Matt, for what it's worth, is that my resolution won't impact that. It'll simply put in place a process to reform what it would look like going forward. In the meantime, my strong suggestion to the commission would be to review applicants and make sure that we have people in that basic academy in February, because regardless of the outcome of the resolution, there won't be an immediate change to that. Again, because it's just the beginning of a conversation to perform that process to comply with the consent decree. Anything else on that section, Jason, or question? Okay. Okay, we can go to the second one.
The second section looks at improving overall data collection using hotspot analysis and improving our efficiencies through data analytics. You see some of our metrics in there. The department continues to try and do targeted enforcement operations. So we are seeing as we have in the past, we're looking at current 4 weeks over prior 4 weeks. Chief Oates really felt that, officers on the street could really impact, kind of the current trends. They couldn't impact necessarily year over year, with the idea being that if we can kind of focus on the here and now, over time, we'll eventually bring down those year-to-date numbers. But really what we need to do is have the officers focus on, kind of the here and now. And so that's what they've been doing. You'll see some of those numbers are coming down significantly. Robberies ticked up a little bit, and then motor vehicle theft was relatively flat after a number of reporting periods of bringing that down. So still very high, but we still want to continue to try and impact that and bring that down. So Reagan, anything else from the team that to report on?
No.
Question, sir?
One, just a comment and question, and I don't know exactly how we can accomplish this, but one of the things that all of us on council hear a lot about is speeding, and I know that we just authorized some additional dollars to go to having the radars in the car. I don't know if there's a way that we could include in this going into the new year. You know, if there's areas of the city where we're seeing lots of incidents of traffic accidents or speeding, you know, what are we doing to address? Because that's becoming just a growing challenge, right? So is there something that we can track in here to help make sure that we're putting, again, from a hotspot analysis perspective, that we're making sure that we're putting assets there to try to slow people down?
Okay, we do have Lieutenant Kerrigan Bennett on. So Lieutenant Bennett, I think you heard the comment. So just sort of thoughts on that one. Obviously, we'll circle with the team. I think we can try and add something in. But anything from the traffic unit to add for that one, sir?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Due to our overall ticket numbers that we issue citywide, as to specific areas, we can develop sort of a little bit more work, but we do track our ticket numbers. And with the implementation of the photo enforcement vans, once those vehicles are up, I keep getting muted. I apologize. I don't know what's happening there. With the once we get the photo enforcement vehicles up and running, we'll have some very good metrics for those, because the whole goal there is to put them into known speeding complaint locations.
So it sounds like, we certainly have citywide numbers. It sounds like we'll have to do a little deeper dive to kind of try and identify some hot spots, but we understand the request, sir. So give us this month and next month, we'll come back with either additional data or thoughts on what's holding us up in terms of providing that. But I think we understand the request.
Some of the citywide numbers could be helpful, especially when we have both the pilot program for the vans, but then also we have the radars in the cars and looking at what the increase in ticketing, and hopefully we see a corresponding eventually a decrease, you know, as those go up. Hopefully it then drives the numbers down. At least that's the hope.
Understood. Yep.
Other questions on this section from my colleagues? Okay, go ahead, Jason.
So the speeding we heard a ton of complaints about, but also expired tags. Just put that out there for officers to be on the lookout for that too. I mean, we get a ton of, at least I do, I guess. I get a ton of complaints about expired tags.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Going on to section 3, this is expanding the A-GRIP program to address youth violence. We have our new youth violence program coordinator, Joseph D. Herrera, on to, I think, answer anything. You see some of the numbers that they have in there. And so, Joseph or Jessica, do you guys want to give an update?
This is Jessica. I'll just say we're doing a youth violence prevention updated study session Monday night on the 12th. We do have Joseph on. I'll let him jump on and introduce himself as well. And then we'll be doing also an update in collaboration with the police department in January around focused deterrence and some of the public safety partnership recommendations. Go ahead, Joseph.
Thanks, Jessica. Good morning, everyone. Face to the name, Joseph D. Herrera. I am the Youth Violence Prevention Program Manager. And yes, as Jessica mentioned, I will be at study session on Monday providing some more in-depth updates as to what's been happening, what we're doing, and kind of looking ahead to 2023 as well.
Any questions on this section? Okay, Joseph, I have just one, and I know that you're going to present on Monday. That's great. One of the things that I think would be helpful, or at least that I'd like to see for in that, is kind of a breakout of what we're spending in youth violence that's aimed towards behavioral health support for kids as part of the youth violence prevention. And if there's a way to kind of break that out from the other stuff, just to have some situational awareness would be fine. I don't need it right now. We can wait till Monday, but just wanted to put that on your radar.
Awesome. Thanks, council member.
Yep. If there's no other questions, then go to the next section.
The next section is looking at our crisis response team and mental health response. And so I'll turn it over to Courtney and Sergeant Bunch for the updates.
Good morning, Council. I apologize for my camera being off. I'm actually driving to AMC to meet the Strong Cities Network. With that update, we did attend the Strong Cities Network information exchange on Tuesday and Wednesday, and that was a really great process. Additionally, we have we're getting to the end of this contract negotiation with our vendor, and I am hopeful that in the next week we will have a finalized contract. With that, they have posted the positions, and we've actually gotten 10 applicants, all licensed or provisionally licensed, meaning they will be licensed in the next year. And we have begun doing ride-alongs and second interviews. So I'm hopeful that by the first of the year, we'll have a full staff team. And then additionally, I did want to add that we've begun the HR process to add a data analyst onto the team. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
That's great news. Any questions for Courtney? Okay. Last section.
All right, so this is moving into the homeless camps and cleanups and abatements. So you kind of see the numbers there in terms of the notifications received and the abatements conducted. So with that, Jessica, Sadia, anything additional to add or questions for them?
I can take this. I'm a night manager of homeless programs. I don't have anything extra to add, just here if you have any questions or need any updates on anything we don't have on there.
Sorry, Emma, I didn't see you there. I apologize.
That's all right.
Any questions for Emma? Okay, I think we're through. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody. So I think that's the end of the agenda. Am I right? So the next meeting, did we confirm a date for the next meeting, Jason, or not? Or do we want to wait until?
We can do it if you want to, and that way we have it on the calendar for staff. And obviously, when we get the new committee assignments, we'll circle back with the new committee to confirm that date. But I think it's always helpful for new committees. Well, I guess I don't want to speak for you all, but at least having something for you all to react to. I don't know how much continuity we'll have. I assume there'll be at least some continuity, if not a lot of continuity, between this year and next year. But if you all would like to put one on, I think I found that to be useful.
So would it be the natural next date would be the 12th? Is that right?
Yes, it would be the second Thursday, so that would be the 12th.
Yeah. So the 12th, council members Jurinsky and Sundberg, the January 12th, same time, work for the two of you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, let's just confirm that as the next meeting.
We've got it. We'll put it on calendars, get the invites out, and obviously once policy committees are made, we will do that. One of the things that we like to do is also as well for you all and for future policy committees, we'll now go back through this year in terms of all the agenda items and kind of have a summary of all the items that you went through and sort of the dispensation, if it was a resolution, when it was approved, if it was an ordinance, when it was approved, if it was information only, if it went to study session, just those different items. We'll list them all out so that there's sort of a summary of the committee's activities for the entire year. So you have that in one place. And once we have that, we'll send it out to you three, and then we can provide that to the committee next year as well.
Okay, that works. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, if not, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.